recording. Okay. So for this one, the goal of the art lab is basically just to start creating some graphics. So depending on what your major is and what your experience is, you may have a lot of different levels of experience in terms of making art. Some of you guys might be animation majors who are really have spent a ton of time making 2D animation. And so you may have a lot of knowledge around this. Some of you guys may be programming majors and have never done any art, and that's fine. Everybody's going to do a little bit of art and a little bit of programming. Some people can do more art, some people can do more programming. But we're all going to at least start making a little bit of art just so we know how that's going to work and how it fits in with the rest of the game. So the program that I'm going to use for making art is called Pascal. It's a pixel art editor. It's very simple and it's free and it's multi-platform. So anybody can use it on any computer for free. There's a lot of other programs that I'm sure you guys are familiar with that you can also use to make art if you want to. I'm not going to tell you that you can't. I would like you to at least try Pascal just so you can see how it works. And so if you ever need to make art and you can't use what you normally use for whatever reason, you can use Pascal because it's pretty simple. So the first thing that we just need to do is download the program. So if you're on the art intro page, which again, I just put in the chat for MMP 270. So if you're on the art intro page, just click on this download link. It's going to take you to the Pascal page. You can see that it also has a web-based editor. So if I click create sprite, I can actually do some editing in the app here. So you can even use it in a browser. If you're on like a Chromebook or whatever, you can do that. One thing that's a little bit different is that they used to actually be able to save your work in the browser, but they stopped doing that this year. I think they basically did that because it was too expensive to save everybody's work on a database. So what I would say is the preferable way to use it is to download it onto your computer. So you can go to the downloads page and then choose obviously whatever platform you're on. I'm going to click on Windows because I'm on a Windows machine. It's telling me that it's too big to scan for viruses. It's okay. I promise it's safe. I'm going to click download anyway. And this is going to take a second. I already have it on my computer, or maybe I don't actually, because I usually use my Mac. Okay, I had to click it again for some reason. Now it's downloading. Didn't take that long. And what I'm going to do, so once it downloads, it's going to be in my downloads folder on my PC. I'm going to delete all this stuff. I don't know what that is. Don't need it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on my desktop so it's easy to find. So when you download it, you are going to get a zip file. I'm sure you guys have seen zip files before, but we can't just open it and pull stuff out. We have to right click and we have to say open with, or no, we have to say, where is it? Extract. Okay, we have to say extract all. And then we can choose where we want it to go. So I'm going to browse and I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to click select folder. And if I do this, it's just going to go right onto the desktop. I think that's okay, actually. We can delete it if we don't like it. So I'm going to click next. And now, is it there? Where is it? Oh, it's this folder. Okay, so now we have this folder. And inside the folder, there's the application. Okay. So if for some reason it like downloaded all the files separately onto your desktop, you should put them in a folder because we don't want all these files on our desktop. We just want a folder with the application inside of it. So once I've downloaded it, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna open the exe file. I thought that Windows was gonna tell me I'm not allowed to, but I guess it doesn't care. So there it is. And so here's our Pascal interface. It's really simple. I'm gonna make this bigger and I'm gonna go over some of the options real quick and then make like a really simple drawing for my OpenLab avatar. So I'm just gonna, the goal of this assignment is just to make a simple drawing that we'll use as our avatar for our OpenLab page. And then we can also use it in our Godot lab. We're just going to make a little Godot scene with our avatar just to get started. So I'll pause for a second. Does anybody have any questions? Is everybody able to get Pascal on your computer?
Yeah. So if you're doing it through the browser, you can just save it to your computer, right? Like it just doesn't save it to whatever server they have.
Yeah, you can save the file onto your computer. I don't know exactly. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason you can't do it that way. But I've been using the app for a long time, like ever since they announced that they were going to take it offline. So there might be other issues with it, but I think it's okay to use it in the browser. Other
Okay.
questions? Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep going, but stop me if you do have any questions. Okay, so this is Pascal. It's pretty straightforward. One thing to mention is that I'm going to be, when I'm working with Pascal and with most art editors, I have this like little drawing tablet that I use. It's just like a little Wacom tablet. I definitely recommend, if you don't have something like this and you are going to be making a lot of art, that you get something like that. We also have those, like, we have some labs that have tablets in them, but it makes obviously drawing and making art a lot easier. But it's not required. You can, make stuff with your mouse. You can use other formats. You can draw on paper and take a picture of it if you want. Whatever is easiest. But just so you know that's what I'm using. It's just like a simple Wacom tablet. Okay, so let's look at some of the options with Pascal. So one thing to first check is our preferences. So there's a few things in here that we might want to play with. You can change the background to different styles. You can also add a grid. So we actually can't see the grid right now because the grid size is the same size as my image. But if I change the spacing, no, this image is just like really, really small. So let's see. We'll come back to that in a second. There's also tile mode, which tiles whatever you're drawing across the whole canvas. We don't need to deal with that right now. And yeah, I think that's all we really need to look at there. So then in the next part of the menu, there's the size. So you can see it's really, really small. It's 32 pixels by 32 pixels. That's kind of the default, because when you're building a game, especially a pixel art game, your art is usually going to be relatively small. I might make this a little bit bigger just to make it easier to draw. So I'm going to choose the width, and I'm going to type in, 64. And you can see it changed both the width and the height. It's kind of small, but you can probably see that. So it's assuming that I want to have a square canvas. If for some reason you don't want to have a square canvas, you can uncheck the maintain aspect ratio. So I put in 64 by 64, didn't change yet. I'm going to click resize. And now it's actually bigger, but we can't tell because we don't have any art on there. Let's see if we can actually add in a grid now. No, it's still... Oh, maybe it's because of the color. There we go. Okay, there's the grid. Okay, so we can add in a grid if we want. I don't really need that for what I'm doing today, but it could be useful if you're designing tiles or platforms or something like that. Another thing just to mention about the resize is if I have some art, like let's say I have like some art right here, I'm just going to draw. If I resize this canvas, like let's say I made it 32 by 32 again, if I click resize, it's going to crop my art. I just hit Command Z to undo, or Control Z for on Windows. If I click resize canvas content, it's going to resize the canvas content. So now my canvas is actually smaller, but the art stayed the same size. Since it's pixel art, it's hard edges. It's really easy to resize it. All right, so I'm going to turn the grid off. And I'm going to erase. Oh, let's get a bigger eraser. Erase everything. Okay. So that's the size. The next thing is saving it. I like to save things early on and be super organized. So I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to call it avatar. I'm going to click save as, and I'm going to put it somewhere on my computer. So I'm going to go to the desktop and I'm going to make a new folder for this class. So I'll go new folder. I'll call this MMP 270. And I'm going to go in here. I'm going to make another folder. I like to be very organized. It makes it a lot easier in the long run. I'm going to call this art. So this is where I'm going to save my original art files. And I'm just going to save avatar.pascal inside of here. And so now I can open this on my computer and see there's my art folder and there's my avatar. And so I can open that in Pascal. It doesn't recognize it, so I have to tell it to find Pascal. So I have to go through this thing and go here and go there and click open. And now it knows that it's a Pascal file. So it's already open. So eventually I'll have like my game and other stuff in here. So I like to keep things very organized. And now I have this file. This is like a Photoshop file. If I like delete my image or something, or lose it or something like that, or if I want to edit it, it's good to keep your Pascal file so you can go back and make edits. So I want to make sure to keep all of the original Pascal files in here. So if you've used Photoshop, it's kind of like a PSD file. All right, so we've saved it. It was originally a browser-based program, so some of the UI stuff doesn't work perfectly. So like, for example, if I was making a new version of this and I was like avatar new and I hit enter, it changes it here. But unless I click save, like if I click save now, it goes back to avatar. It doesn't actually change the file. So I would have to click save as again and make a new file for that to work. And I'll probably do that at various points. Let's see, we'll deal with export and import later. So let's actually do some drawing. So Pascal is mostly geared towards animation, which is why we have like a frame and we can add a new frame. We're not really going to do any animation today, so we'll go over that in another lesson. But I'm just going to start drawing. So I have my pencil. What am I going to make for my avatar? I guess last year I made like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but I usually make an apple. I'll just do an apple again. So I'm going to draw like the outline of an apple. It was pretty bad. Here's like the stem. And yeah, there's my apple. So I can just draw, that's the pencil. There's also a vertical mirror pencil if I want to draw stuff that's mirrored. I don't really need to do that for this. But that's the main pen tool. And then you have different sizes for the pen tool. Like if I want to fill stuff in, I have like these different sizes. But it's really, really simple. It's just for pixel art. It's, you know, it's not trying to do anything super sophisticated. I have the paint bucket. So if I want to fill in this whole area, I can do that. I can change my color down here. So obviously my apple shouldn't be black. So let's choose a different color, maybe red. And it didn't quite make it up here, so I can fill those in. So that's nice with the paint bucket. This paint all pixels tool is actually really nice. So like, for example, if I wanted to draw some details, let's say I wanted like a darker red and I draw some like little details on my apple, but then I decided I don't like the color. If I go with the paint bucket tool and let's say I wanted to like choose a different red over here, I have to go individually and do all of them. But if I choose the paint all pixels tool, it'll change every pixel of that color to the new color. So it makes it a lot easier to make edits like that. So that's tool is really useful. If I decide I don't like these details and I want to get rid of them, I can choose. You can see over here in the palettes, I have all the colors that I've used on the canvas so far. So I can go back to that other color. I can use the same paint by pixels and get rid of it. And now that palette is gone. And I can add colors to the palette if I know I want to use them later. So I can do that with my colors. So then let's add a stem. I want a different color for the stem. I'm going to use a wider brush. So I'm gonna get like a brown color. That looks pretty good. So I'll do like this stem here. It's not bright enough. It's hard to see. I'm gonna choose something brighter. Okay, that looks okay. I'll add some detail in here. So there's the eraser. This obviously just erases stuff. Not too, nothing too special there. This does straight lines. So, you know, it's kind of useful if you want to draw straight lines. It's not really the style I'm drawing right now, but you might want to do that. I can also draw rectangles. If I want to draw a rectangle, I can draw circles if I want to draw some circles. That looks kind of funny. Maybe my apple is like a person, so I could have like eyes and a mouth. That's kind of cool for an avatar. But let's change those colors so they don't match the stems. So let's choose a different color. Choose like a green color and paint these pixels. Okay, that looks kind of funny. And maybe I will kind of change these corners a little bit so it's not. There we go. That's kind of funny. Take out some pixels here. Okay. Oh, and then I changed the color of the stem, so let's make that brown again. Okay, so I'll fill that in. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's see what else. I have the move tool. This is just gonna move my art around. That's pretty convenient. Shape selection. If I select an area and then I can like cut it, I can, oh, for some reason it won't let me move the area. Weird. I can also make selections like this. So if I make a big selection, oh, for some reason it's not letting me. I can make a selection like that, and then, oh, then I have to paste it, then I can move it around. Not that I would actually want to do this, but I could like move this down here. And then I can also draw around an area if I just want to get a whole area. Oh, then I can move it, and then I could cut right there. So I can draw around stuff to make little selections as well. Okay. So then this lighten tool is super useful. If I just like draw on stuff, it basically makes stuff lighter. So it's really nice for making little details. So if I wanted to make like a little highlight on this side of the apple, and then if I hold control while I'm drawing, it'll make things darker. So I could make some highlights like that. It also, if I hold control and if I hold shift, it'll just do one amount of lightness less. So you can see I can like make a little highlight like that really easily. If I hold control and shift, it does the same thing, but with dark. So I can make like a little area here and then make a little darker area here. So that's actually a really nice feature that can make it easy to do shading and to add some like basic little highlights. I'm just gonna add like a simple highlight right here and maybe a dark highlight down here. Nothing too crazy. Actually, let's do like this. Looks okay. Maybe I want to highlight the eyes a little bit. And that looks kind of bad. Now I'm starting to think this green is too bright. I might try a different green. Let's try something like this. Maybe a little bit brighter. That. Okay, that looks pretty good. Oh, the dithering tool is really nice. So one thing that I didn't mention yet is you can choose a secondary color. And so if I choose a different color, let's try like a blue. If I use my right mouse button, I can dither. So it draws both colors at the same time. So I can kind of create this like cool pattern. And I don't know if I can, I guess I just have to draw this. I don't think I can do a fill with this. But if I wanted to like fill in this whole background, I could do this like dithering, and it could be cool. Maybe I could fill in like the eyeballs. That might be kind of cool. Okay. This is turning a lot weirder than what I normally do for this. Okay. He looks like he's seen better days. Color picker tool is pretty simple. It just changes the color to whatever you put it on. And I think that's all the tools. So I'll move to the next part. Any questions before I do that? Does everything make sense?
Yeah, it
That's
makes
kind
sense
of,
right now.
yeah, it makes decent sense. It was just kind of a lot to take in, but I'm sure once I go in and do it myself, it might be a little bit easier to understand.
Yeah, you should go in and play with it. I'm recording this, so I'll post the video soon, so you can go back and look at it if you want to. Um, cool. So I've got an avatar. It honestly looks pretty weird and gross, but that's fine. I'm gonna stick with it. So the next thing that we want to do is just export this avatar and put it on the Open Lab. So I'm gonna save. I'm gonna hit Control S to save. And there's a couple things I can do before I export. So over here in this transform section, I can center it. So I can align the image. And then I can also crop it if I want to. So it'll take out the extra space. I don't really need to do that for this. It's probably more useful for my game for when I'm doing stuff there. But that is pretty useful. I don't think I need to do anything else. I could flip it. But there's no real reason to do that here. But once I'm basically ready, what I want to do, I have my Pascal file, but what I need to actually put online is a PNG file. So I'm going to go to the export, and I have a bunch of different options here. We're going to ignore GIF because even though if we had an animation, we could export an animated GIF, we're not going to be able to use that in our game engine. What we're going to use is called sprite sheets, and I'll go over that in a later demo. What I really want is just a PNG. So if I go over to this PNG tab, I can scale it up or down. So for my avatar, I might want something actually a little bit bigger, and you can see what the resolution will be if we scale it up. And again, since it's pixel art, if we scale it up, it's going to look exactly the same because everything has a hard edge. So I'm going to scale it up a bunch so it's bigger. So when I put it online, it'll fit in different sizes. So I'm going to click download. And it says download again because the app was originally designed for the web. And I'm going to look for where it is on my computer. So I'm going to go to desktop, go to MMP 270, go to art. And I think it goes in here. We don't see the other stuff because, yeah, there's the Pascal file. That's another difference between Windows and Mac is for whatever reason, Windows doesn't show you the files and it doesn't show you the extensions all the time. Anyway, I'm going to do avatar, and I'm just going to put _8 to remind myself that this is scaled up 8 times. And click save. And so now if I go to my desktop, here's my MMP 270 folder. I'm going to bring this up here. There's my art, and there's my avatar. And so that looks pretty decent. It's a nice size. And so now I want to put that on the Open Lab. Where'd my Pascal go? Here it is. Anything else I need to do here? No, that's everything I need to do. We may look at these other export options later, but we don't need them right now. There's also an import option and something that is good to know. So if I leave Pascal and then I open it up again, so I'll go back to Pascal. If you have an original Pascal file, it's easy to just open it by going to the import, going to browse Pascal files and choosing it here. And it's going to open it up. There it is. But you can also import an image. So if for some reason I lost that original file, I can go to import and just go to browse images and just open the image. And it's going to ask me, is it a single image or is it an animation? This is obviously just a single image. If it's an animation, that's something we'll go over later. So I'll say import. I'm going to say OK. There it is. It also may save your work on its own. So one more thing, and then we'll move on. If I go to import, there's also this browse local saves section. And you can see it saves something that I created but didn't save. So if I click load here, I don't think I actually did anything, so it's probably empty. But if you had made something there and not saved it, you may be able to find it in there. Let's see if there's any backups. Let's see. Okay, so there's also some backups. So it saves a lot of different things in case you lose your art, which is good. Okay, I think that's everything. So let's leave Pascal. Okay, so the last thing I have to do is add this to my Open Lab page. So here's my browser. I already have the Open Lab open, so I'm just gonna go over here. And I have to log in, so I'm gonna click login. And here's my username and my password. Okay. Once I'm logged in, so this doesn't happen on the page. This is actually one of the times we'll go back to the Open Lab. I can go to My Profile and click on the My Profile link. And you can see there's my avatar that I made last year when I was doing this. And I can click Change Avatar. And I can drag here, but I'm just gonna click Change File and go to Desktop, go to MMP 270, Art, there's my avatar. Click Open. And then click upload. So then it's gonna want me to crop. I'm gonna crop. And there we go. I think that's everything. So if I go back to the class, so I'll go to my courses and go to this fall. Oh, spring 2022. Go to course site. You can see now that the avatar in the blog authors, which I don't know why you guys aren't showing up here, eventually you will, you'll see that your avatar is down there. And when you click on here, it'll show the post that you made. And so we're gonna use the avatar also as just like a sample art for when we create our first like little game project. But yeah, that's everything that we need to do for this lab. If you want to, you can put your avatar image in a post as well, just to, talk about what you were going for. So I'll call this post my avatar. And I'll go to the categories and go to art intro. Oops. And I'll just put the avatar right on there. So I'll go into the File Explorer, grab my avatar, got to get that blue line, there it is. And I'll say this is my class avatar. I made an apple. It looks kind of creepy by accident. Whatever you want to say about your avatar, what you were going for. And let's preview that. Okay, pretty simple. That's all we need to do. And then I'll click publish. And that takes a second sometimes. But yeah, that's the art lab. That's everything you need to do for that. And so when you do that, it'll send me a notification. I'll go in and take a look. Cool. So that's everything. I'm going to stop the recording and then see if there's questions.